Fraser, thanks so much for joining us. So first off...
Thank you for having me.
So first off, what would you say were some of the highlights of the Assembly?
Well, there's always these things that are so packed with many things going on, but I think definitely the first day kind of dealt with introduction of the new interim chief, who's Joanna Bernard now, and dealt with Roseanne Archibald, I guess, former national chief who has been deposed, and sort of they dealt with that. She wasn't included on the agenda to reinstate her. And then there was also the release of the report on sexual orientation and gender-based discrimination, and appearance by Jody Wilson-Raybould, the former Attorney General. And those are some of the bigger highlights of the week.
Well, so let's talk about Roseanne Archibald for a moment. Has the organization, for all intents and purposes, moved on from the former national chief?
I think they have, actually. They, the writing was sort of on the wall with her when she sort of decided not to attend in person, and I think she was sort of soliciting support, had sent out a memo, and then really it didn't go anywhere to get her on the agenda on the first day. But I will say it was quite a bit nasty, actually. Her supporters were were kind of shut down, and she was actually blocked on video eventually as a proxy voter, so it was a little bit high-handed, but she was nowhere to be seen after that, and it appears her career, for now anyway, with the AFN is done.
So what about the sexual discrimination report? Is this a step forward?
I think it really is. This was it was based on a resolution at a previous assembly, and of course they did it. They hired 3 women to do the report, and they talked to many different people in the organization, their stories, and some of them were not very nice stories. It's a problem for the organization, as for many organizations, and I think actually talking about this and having a report and making some recommendations is a real step forward. I will say, though, we've had the situation with Archibald, of course, who has accused the organization of lateral violence itself and mainly executive. And I think she does have some justification for saying that, and it appears, that, the rules don't always apply to the people in leadership, and they kind of have to walk the talk, right? Like every organization, if they're going to have substantive change.
And quickly, what about the forensic audit? Is this going to happen anytime soon?
I would not count on that. There doesn't seem a lot of interest in doing it. There was a resolution passed to set the parameters of, how much it might cost and the scope, but that could have been already done. This was called for a year ago, and there's been zero movement on it. And if you talk to people in the higher levels of the AFN, they seem to feel they don't need to do this, that that it's in these audited financial statements that they release, but those aren't comprehensive. And I think really some of the allegations that have been made need to be looked into, and they need to have a more comprehensive audit. But the will to do that at the higher levels does not seem to be there right now.
Okay, well, we'll have to end it there. But once again, thanks so much for joining us today, Fraser.
Well, thanks very much for having me.